What's up everyone, it's a knife seller here, and today I'm going to be doing a video on the Sage 1 from Spyderco. And this is actually a sprint run that was kind of recently put out with Maxamet blade and gray G10 handles. And the Sage 1, the Sage series is basically all the same design of knife, just with different locking mechanisms. This is the one with the liner lock. I have a Sage 5 lightweight with a compression lock. I think there's also a back lock, one with like a ball bearing lock, and I know there's another one too. But yeah, so I already like the Sage 5, so I assumed I was gonna like this one. I've had it for probably 3-4 months now, maybe more than that. And so now I'm gonna be doing my review on it. I am in a little bit of a different spot. I don't have that good of lighting, so I apologize for that. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So size comparisons, I don't have my whole knife collection with me. So I got a Spidey chef right here, and then a police right there. So yeah, it is that size of a knife that is kind of perfect for me. I've never felt like it's too small to do anything I needed to do, but it's also very lightweight. And yeah, I usually carry knives bigger than it, but one nice thing about it is you can still get all your hand on it, even though it is a smaller blade length. That's one thing that Spyderco does really well. So let's go ahead and start off with the blade. Maxamet, what are my thoughts about it? So far, really like it. One of my favorite steels. Sharpening, I think I've sharpened it once, just by myself when I got it, and it was pretty good. I remember it was a little bit difficult. It just kind of felt weird on the stone, but like timing of it was fine. I've stropped it up a couple times and it strops up really well. I use Gunny Juice. I think it was like the 9 micron, and it really brings the edge back, and I haven't really needed much more to do with sharpening. One thing people worry about with Maxamet is the rusting. There's no rust on this. I have not had any issues with rust, so yeah, there's that. About the geometry of the blade, it's got a pretty thin stock on it, thinner than your average PM2 or Para 3, which I like, and it also gets pretty thin behind the edge. I believe this one is under 15 thousandths, maybe around that 15 thousandths mark, which Spydercos are usually at that 21 thousandths from the Golden, Colorado factory. So I think because of the thinner stock, they're able to grind it more. I mean, you can grind any knife however thin you want it to, no matter the stock thickness. Just when it's a production company like Spyderco, they probably aren't going to spend extra time on a knife to purposely make it thinner. So when it's already a thinner piece of steel, probably will get thinner behind the edge. But overall, good thickness behind the edge, good cutting geometry. I really like the blade shape on it, this leaf blade shape. Very simple, very easy to use, really does everything well. The point is low enough for you to do all the EDC tasks that you want with that, and also it's good for slicing. The angle that I put on this edge, it's probably like 15 degrees. Honestly, don't remember. But overall, good cutting. Really like the blade. Really impressed with Maxamet. And if there's another sprint run out there that I'm looking at that's in Maxamet, I know I'm going to hop on that because I really like the steel. Now let's talk about fit and finish. So this is from the, what is it? It's not Seki City, the Taichung, Taiwan factory, which is known as Spyderco's best factory most of the time. Golden is probably second in my rank, and it lived up to its name. Perfectly centered. Let me show that to you guys. Lock up clean for a liner lock. The liner is pretty thin, but no lock rock, no lock stick, no lock slip. Overall, really good lockup on this. One thing, I say this all the time, but everyone loves compression locks from Spyderco, but they do a great job with all of their other, or most of their other locks too, like the ball lock, their frame locks, liner locks. Overall, I really like them. And so some knives like the Shaman, where the compression lock is a hot spot, I think something like a frame lock or a back lock or something would fit that really good. Now, I assume compression locks sell more, so that's why they use them more, but it still is something cool to note. All the corners are nicely knocked down on this G10. No sharp edges on the inside of the liners here. It is skeletonized, the liners. Do not know if that's going to show up because my lighting here is not very good. But great fit and finish. Really, any blade play. I guess I can force some out, but nah, nothing that I'd ever think about tightening. And overall, really good fit and finish on this. Pretty much a perfect example of a Spyderco. Next, let's move on. What would be the next topic? Ergonomics. So ergonomics of the Sage are really good. Like I said before, you can get your full hand on this and you don't have any problems with it. A lot of times on these smaller knives, the downside of them is less area for grip, kind of like the ProTech SBR, if any of you guys have that. It is really nice and compact and carries well, but I can only get like 3, maybe 3.5 of my fingers on there. This one, because honestly, for me, blade length doesn't really matter. I'm never like, oh man, if my blade length was 3.5 inches instead of 3 inches, I would have been able to cut that so much easier. It's not something you really notice. When you keep your knives sharp, you can pretty much push cut through cardboard and tape most of the stuff that I am cutting. So it's really just that big, that ability to get your full hand on it and feel like a full-size knife that makes it able for me to carry. The G10, it's not very aggressive. It's like probably that perfect texture G10. I really like it. On the Sage 5, I get a hot spot from the compression lock, but this one, I don't get anything at all. I really like the jimping here. It's not too aggressive. The ramp up to the Spidey hole is not too much, so that makes it easy if you want to put your thumb up here or do something like that. But yeah, that's all I got for ergonomics. Overall, really good. Better than the Sage 5 because no compression lock. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. Next, let's talk about the carry. The carry's great. Got the wire pocket clip. One of my favorite clips, carries really well. You can switch it to lefty, tip up as well. It's lightweight. You lose it in the pocket, carry it in athletic shorts, whatever you really want, and it does a great job. So we got blade done, ergonomics, carry, fit and finish, lockup. I guess let's move on to final part, which is the value. So overall, the value with this knife, I think it's like 200-ish. I don't even know if these are still in stock. I should have checked up before, but I think it's 200, maybe 210, maybe even more than that, which I think is a little bit pricey. You know, when Spyderco does a sprint run where Spyderco factory makes them and ships them out to all the dealers, they're usually pretty pricey. If it's a dealer exclusive, or let's say Knife Joy or something is making a K390 PM2 or something, it's probably going to be cheaper than if Spyderco did a sprint run, just because I guess they're just cheaper because the dealer is straight up making the profits, and Spyderco has to make the profits off selling to the dealer, and then the dealers also have to make profit. I don't know. But dealer exclusives are usually cheaper than the sprint runs. For example, I got a Crewwear Shaman, and it was like maybe $10 more than the S30V Shaman. Now, if it was a Crewwear Shaman from Spyderco, well, was it a Crewwear Shaman that I got? I don't know. If Spyderco just did a Crewwear Shaman and shipped it out to all the dealers, it'd probably be almost $300. So this one, at the above the $200 price range, it's a little bit pricey for me. It would be cool if it was under $200. I bet it would be if it was from a dealer. But honestly, one thing about value for knives is I've never thought about this knife, oh man, this is way too expensive. You know, would I recommend this to someone trying to get their first knife and the best bang for their buck? No, but I've never felt like, man, I could have spent my money better elsewhere. Overall, I'm really happy with this knife. Carries great, uses great, really like cutting it. It's gonna be a go-to knife in the future, kind of like my Sage 5, lightweight. I overall am very happy with this. So that's all I got for today. With the new setup, kind of the worsened setup, I don't have all my knives here, and I also probably won't be getting as many more knives as I was in the past, so the content will definitely slow down, so I apologize for that. I think it's been like a month or maybe 2 since I've done a video. I might try and do more stuff like just like talking about the knife community, or maybe going through some new knives, but I just really feel like the knife world has been dry recently. I don't feel like companies have been putting out as much stuff. Maybe I just haven't been paying as much attention. But I might do some reaction videos more, like, oh, Benchmade's new knives coming out, or what do I think about them, or some maybe just talking about drama in the knife world, just because I won't be getting as many new knives as I was. So I apologize for that. Apologize for the lighting. The audio's probably not good either. But you know, I'm just making do here, and I assume I'll have some videos back at my regular studio, if you will. But that's all I got today. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for all the subscribing. Even when I haven't been posting videos, I've still been gaining subs like normal, so I appreciate that. That's all I got for today. Thanks for tuning in. Have a nice day.